V rámci projektu Společně k inkluzivnímu vzdělávání jsme se zástupci českých základních škol navštívili berlínskou základní školu Erika Mann Grundschule. Tato škola byla oceněna pro svůj inkluzivní přístup a v rámci tohoto videa vám přinášíme rozhovor s ředitelkou školy a speciální pedagožkou o jejich přístupu ke vzdělávání žáků s různou mírou potřeby podpory ve vzdělávání.
Mrs. Lubko, what was the journey of your school towards inclusive education?
My headmistress now and we started in 1979 with two children in a class with intellectual and mental disease and autism as well. And it was a class with about 25 pupils. And it was our first time that we have these children with these handicaps in our school. And in the time before, we have several meetings with our parents to talk with them and to learn what are the difficulties of these children. And we said to them, it's our first time now, and it's like an experience, and we don't know what's the end of this experience, and we go step by step, and we try to integrate them in our class, and it was very exciting for us as well. And we don't know what do these children in several situations when Mrs. Habermann as a classroom teacher is working with the other children, and I as a special teacher is working with these two pupils. And so we started as well, and for the other teachers in our school it was a experiment as well, because there are very much obstacles with these children, like in society as well in nowadays. And so we started with a first day when all first class pupils come into the school with a big party, and then we were inside in our class, and these two peoples, we have some flowers on the table, and they took the flowers and bring them all over, and Miss Habermann was working there, and I tried to solve the situation, and it was very exciting, and like this we worked together. And we tried to make a whole situation for the whole class that the pupils could learn, and the other two were part of the class. Mm-hmm. So I think it was a good work, because we have to talk so much about the situation in the class, and what could we do to integrate them. And I think we have had very interesting and deep discussions. What is the best way for us all to be in the class and to be satisfied? Mm-hmm. And the pupils as well, they had to be satisfied with their situation as well. And
not only talking about how we manage to get a society in this classroom where everybody has a place, but also we were deep together in planning the lessons. Mm-hmm. So, for example, to one theme, what could we do for the children who learn a little bit more quickly, and what can we do for other children who need more support in language, and what can we do for the children with the special needs and mental disease. So we really spent a lot of time talking together about the class and how we could manage, and also spending a lot of time in planning lessons so that they could be successful for everybody.
Mm-hmm. So After all, what strategies for the whole class you found effective, and how did you manage to share the experience with other teachers of the school, so they could be more prepared for the situation that you had in your class?
So first of all, we learned that there is no recipe for acting with children because every child is different, if it has a special need or not. So that is what we learned. And I think the other pupil learned this as well, because getting in contact with those two children from 20 years ago, for example, one of them, he really loved watches. And so when there was rest time, he went out and asked everybody, do you have a watch? Do you have a watch? And the other children, was will der? What does he want? And so they came to us and asked, or they came to other teachers and asked, and the teachers asked us. And we say, oh, he likes watches. So it's no problem, tell the pupil just to say, I don't have a watch, or yeah, look, I have a watch. So this was a kind of dialogue starting in school. And that was Mrs. Löpke also said, we went this way step by step.
When they go outside, there are several teachers in the schoolyard, and they have to act with them. And they start to act with them because Adrian, this one of his pupils, are going to these teachers and ask, what's about your watch? And so they interact with them and they learn. And then in the other way, they go to us and ask what is happen with your pupils, and how do you manage it? And so we are start the discussion as well in the whole school with the teachers. And in the next years, we try to integrate several other pupils with handicaps in the class. There are the learning disease, there are mental disease, there are intellectual disease, and they all have a special. They need a special support in the school, and it's my work to help the teachers in special situations.
Mm-hmm. So you, as a coordinator, what for students or children with special needs, what are your duties? What is your support that you provide to?
Yes, in the former times, we tried to make a setting where all teachers who have questions, we sit together and are talking about this. What are the problems? What could you do? But nowadays, I go in the classes and look what is about in the class, and what do they need in special moments. And I think nowadays it's so regular in our school that not the pupils with handicaps are in the focus of the teachers. Then all children are in the focus, and with my person, I go in the classes and talk about what is the situation in your class and what do you need for your special pupils, but not exactly for the pupils with handicaps, but for the arrangement of the lessons, and what could we do to support all of them.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I think, meanwhile, 20 years later, most of our teachers who are here since 10 or 15 years, they are very sure in the basements. They're really sure in the basement, like how to work with different children, and also having Differenzierung.
Differentiation.
Working with different children in different levels and so on. So they are really sure in the basements. But when there is a child who is special and they don't know what to do, then they ask Mrs. Lepke, and then she will go to the classes, having a look into and going to the going into the dialogue and finding out what supports are need and how we can manage.
I think they haven't enough time in these classes to have a straight look to one person. And when I come from outside, I have the time to sit down and look and talk with each other, and then we can sit down and discuss what I have seen, and then we can, in a dialogue, a discussion with a team, we can try to find some ideas what they can change in their work. And I think that's the whole
Main point.
yeah, the main, yes.
Yeah.
And we always sit in the teams and talk to each other in the team of one class. And I think when they all are focused on this problem, I think they have many ideas what they can change in their work. And I have to say that in our school, the teachers are very good in the diagnostic. They could exactly say what their children are able to do or what they are not able to do. And then I have a perfect basic to work with them. Because they know what they are doing here, and they know where they have to support each children. But sometimes there are other effects that doesn't make the whole system a little bit instable. Don't know. My work is to explain the situation and to focus on the difficulties, and then we have to change, or we try to change the situation.
And how did you manage that the teachers are very well prepared for differentiation, to understand the potentials of each child in a class? Did you send them to special trainings, or did you have some practical?
So this is also something which went on for 20 years now. So we started in 1997 and went to this step by step. And I think individual trainings are very, very important. But we had some trainings also in the school on our study days. We have study days with the themes. We had them. And also a very good support from Mrs. Lepke. So she's always there, and she is there. You can ask her everything, and she's really giving a very good setting. Also, what can we do? So last year she wrote it down and said, okay, when you get a child with problems, or a child who gives you sorrow. She said, you can do this and this and this into the classroom, in the class team, with the class team. And if this doesn't work, please come to me. And then we talk about this. I come to the class. And if my tips don't work, we can do this and this and that. So this is the setting. She wrote it down last year, but this is something which is the result of a development.
Yes.
From, I don't know, 10 or 15 years. Yes, so. Yeah.
But the whole system of our school, I think, is the basic of our good work here in school, and the theater, the creative skills are the
basement.
Yeah, the basement of our work, and I think the teachers have learned that the language is an exact moment we have to support to a good speech. The children have to learn what is with our German language, and how can I work with this. And then therefore we have the cultural skills, and I think it's a good basement for our children as well.
Cognitive learning at all.
Yeah. Can you describe us the way how you approach the language teaching German as a second language? Yeah, because you have a different concept that is used at other schools. Can you please describe your integrated concept?
We have integrated language concept, yeah, like you said. So that means that all of the language lessons or hours we get from the Senat go into the classes. So we don't have any separated learning German groups, like there are 6 pupils with 1 teacher, and so we learn this is mom, this is dad, I don't know. But we put all of the hours into the class, and so the children have the chance to learn the language with together with the other children and on the same themes of the class. So they don't have to learn something different, but they learn the same, and they get a special support over the teachers who came into this class as a second teacher. So this is the basement of our integrated language concept.
And did you find it useful?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, they start with a theme, like weather, like animals, or so on, and that's the basement where we talk about, and therefore we have a Wortschatz,
To learn
some
a
words.
lot of words to the theme. They have the word they learn are they are all together with the theme. It's nothing special, and so after maybe 3 weeks working about the weather, they really know rain and snow and wind and I don't know, a lot of words comparing to or having to do with something with the weather. And so they not learn only the words, but they also know what rain is, and they know what snow is, and maybe they see it, how it looks, and so on. Yeah, learning on visual and tactile and mental levels.
And they learn the words, and the German language with their grammatic and words is part of this work, because when they in German is der, die, das, the articles, and they have to learn it with these words we talk about, and it's when we are talking about these themes, they have to repeat these words, and they learn it, and they wrote in their special German language lessons, they are working with these words as well. It's part of the whole work for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but here they learn it just because you communicate about it, and they hear other children using the articles, and that's helped them to understand the concept.
That's what I wanted to say, because the cooperative learn methods are very, very important. That's why we work together with first, second, and third graders, because children learn a lot over learning with other children, and not only learning from the teacher who is standing in front of the class, but getting in dialogue about themes, getting, for example, in water, is this swimming or is it going down, something like that. This is a dialogue children do during such a theme work. And this is very, very important for learning language, because in the dialogue with other children, they are more free in talking than in talking with teachers. So this is a very important part of it too.
They are not so scared to experiment with the language. Yeah, probably they would, if they were not sure, they wouldn't say it loud to the teacher. But yeah, in the communication with children, it's more sportal, and that's why it's more effective.
Yes, the same is when they get on stage for the theater themes. They use their own words. They haven't have a book where from, I think, textbook. Yeah, Romeo and Juliet, a textbook where several words, sentences are writing down, and they have to learn it. It's the other way around. It's improvisation, and they say what they are thinking. We write it in German sentences, and then they learn their own words to stay on the stage, and not, oh, I am on stage and I don't know what I have to say. But they have their own words, and they have so often repeated that are able, and they are sure that I can, and I can stand on the stage, and I can do my speech, I can do my role and my speech. And when they come down, after our situations in the theater, they have grown several centimeters. I can, and the parents were very excited and proud of them. And when the next day, when the classes are coming to the theater, it's a very direct dialogue, and the pupils from the other schools, when they come, they say, "Oh no, why have you laughed in your scene? You haven't to laugh." And oh, okay, and they learn very much in these situations. And when they come back, and they are very proud of their stage moments in the last days.
Yeah. You mentioned parents, and in inclusive education, it's very important to integrate parents to school life. So what's effective? What do you found that it's useful to support parents to be part of the school, and also to be involved in the support of their children?
Mm-hmm. Maybe I just talk about from school, and then you can go over to children for special needs, or if there's something. So what you saw this morning in the Morgenband is one part how we try to get parents in school. So I don't know, 15 years ago there were we have 80% of children with non-German roots in our schools. So a lot of parents came to the first parents' evening and then never again over the whole school year. So you don't even saw them. So we thought about concepts or places or statements where we can involve the parents. And the Morgenband with the exercising time for the children is one of our ideas. So that's how we get some children, some parents into school. But participation of the parents is very important on other skills as well. So, for example, now it's ending, but 10 years ago we started a school exercise. We wrote our own school reports, and we had indicators based on competences. But we did not only develop these new school reports, but we had a setting for that. That was that the form goes to the parents and the children, and they have to try to think, how good can you do this? So the children and the parents have to sit together and think, oh, do you think you can read a text you don't know? How good do you think? Do you think double plus or plus minus or minus? What do you think? Then the form comes back to the teachers, and they do their crossing. And afterwards, the main important thing is the dialogue with parents and children and the pedagogues, as well teachers and pedagogues, everybody who is involved in the class. So at least 2 times a year, we get in contact and get in dialogue with the parents about education and about different views on the child, maybe, or about what can you do at home to support your child, and maybe what can we do at school or in after-school care to support the child. So this is a very, very important part of our participation of parents. Getting them into the boat of education, I always say. So, of course, the parents also involved in our sponsor running, so they make helpers and so on. They are involved in our celebrations in the school and so on. So, and we at the moment, at the last year, we really have very engaged parents. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they really want, and I have a setting all every 4 or 5 weeks with the leaders of the parents group, yeah. And we talk about what is important for school, what can parents do, what can we do, where do we have to talk about. So this is also a kind of culture. Mm-hmm. It has to get developed, but when it's there, it's very good. Mm-hmm. And what children with special needs, or children, I don't know, who make sorrow, or how do you say, of course, contact is the main important thing. Yeah,
we sit together and we are talking as well, and look where are possibilities to help the children, and what have to do. What could the idea that the parents are helping their child and children, and what could we do in school? And we have ergotherapy and logopedy in this house. I don't know okay, and they support it, and we sit in